The world burned around him. Lieutenant Marcus Hale crouched in the mud, heart pounding, ears ringing from the last explosion. The sky was black with smoke, lit by flashes of alien artillery. Humanity had been fighting this war for a year now, and it felt like they were always one step from losing. He wiped ash from his face and looked around. His unit was scattered. Some were down, not moving. Others were shouting orders, dragging the wounded back. It was chaos. Then Marcus saw something strange. Just beyond the smoking wreck of an armored truck, a small figure stumbled out of the haze. Not a soldier. Too small, too thin. It was a child, but not a human child. Her skin glowed faintly blue, like moonlight on water. Her big black eyes were wide with fear. She was clutching something, a charm, maybe, as she ran. Marcus froze. This was the enemy. The same species that had leveled cities, burned farms, and taken millions of lives. His first instinct was to duck, to hide. Then he heard the whistling sound. Incoming artillery. There was no time to think. Marcus ran. He tackled the girl, pulling her down into the mud, wrapping himself around her as the shell landed. The world turned white. Marcus woke up to silence. He blinked, confused, his head heavy, his body aching. The air smelled wrong, sharp and metallic. The sky above was purple, not blue. He wasn't in the trench anymore. Slowly, Marcus sat up. He was lying on a bed of some strange fabric, inside a large tent. Soft light glowed from hanging crystals overhead. Strange shapes, alien medical machines hummed quietly nearby. Then he saw her. The alien girl sat at the edge of the bed across from him, staring with those wide black eyes. She was alive. He felt a rush of relief and then confusion. Why was he alive? Why wasn't he a prisoner? Before Marcus could move, the flap of the tent opened. Two tall alien soldiers entered. Their armor was smooth, curved, and shining silver. Their faces were hidden behind masks, but he could feel their eyes on him. Marcus tensed, ready to fight if he had to. But instead of attacking, one of them spoke in broken English. "You, safe. Rest." Marcus blinked. That was not what he expected. The next day, Marcus learned the truth. The girl, her name was Kale, was not just anyone. She was the daughter of an alien diplomat. She had been caught near the battlefield when the humans attacked, separated from her guards. Marcus had saved her life. And that meant something, even to the enemy. The alien commander came to see him, tall and sharp-eyed. He did not thank Marcus, but he did not kill him either. Instead, Marcus was allowed to stay in the camp. Not as a prisoner, not exactly. More like a guest. It was unsettling. He ate their food, strange but edible. He watched their soldiers train, their discipline almost human in its precision. He heard them speak in their flowing language, sometimes pausing to look at him with unreadable expressions. And he kept seeing Kale. At first, she was shy, keeping her distance. But slowly, she began to sit near him. She offered him food one night. He accepted. They did not share words, but they shared silence. Marcus had been trained to hate them. But here, in this quiet camp, surrounded by the enemy, he found something he had not felt in months. Calm. But calm never lasted long in war. One night, alarms sounded. The ground shook with distant blasts. Human forces had found the camp. Panic spread through the alien soldiers as they prepared to defend their wounded. Kale clung to Marcus, terrified. Marcus felt a pull inside him. He could escape. He could run back to his own people in the chaos. But if he did, Kale would die. He looked down at the girl, then at the alien soldiers rushing past him. His choice was clear. Marcus grabbed a fallen rifle. For the first time, he fought not for his orders but for her. When the battle ended hours later, the camp still stood. Human forces had retreated. Marcus was exhausted, bleeding, but alive. The alien commander approached him, silent for a long moment. Then he placed something in Marcus's hand, Kale's pendant. Marcus looked at it and realized what it meant. He had earned their trust. And now, he carried something far heavier than a weapon. Hope. Marcus stumbled back into human territory at dawn. His uniform was scorched, his rifle missing, and Kale's small silver pendant hung heavy in his fist. The human soldiers who found him didn't cheer. They didn't even smile. They raised their guns. Back at base, Marcus was taken to a small, cold room. They called it debriefing, but he knew what it was: interrogation. Colonel Rains, a hard man with a scar over his left eye, sat across from him. "You've been gone 3 days, Hale," the colonel said. "You come back with alien trinkets, no weapon, no squad, and you expect me to believe you didn't defect?" Marcus clenched his jaw. "I saved a kid. Their kid. They didn't kill me. I stayed to protect her when we were attacked." "You fought with them?" The colonel's voice was flat. "I fought to keep a child alive." The silence in the room felt like a knife. Finally, Rains spoke again, slower this time. "You may have saved a child. But if the brass thinks you gave the enemy anything, intel, maps, troop positions, you'll be in a cell until the war's over." Marcus felt a chill crawl up his spine. He hadn't betrayed anyone. But he had seen things: alien tactics, weapons, technology. Information his commanders would want. And he knew one thing for certain: if they interrogated him too hard, Kale's people would know. And the fragile trust he had built would shatter. That night, Marcus couldn't sleep. The base was quiet, the distant rumble of artillery the only sound. He stared at Kale's pendant in his hand. The metal was warm, as if it remembered her touch. He thought about her face when the attack came, terrified, clutching his sleeve as he told her to stay behind him. And then he thought about what would happen if humanity kept fighting like this. There would be more attacks, more burned camps, more terrified children on both sides. Maybe there was another way. In the morning, Marcus made his choice. He asked to see Colonel Rains. "I know a way to end this," he said. "Not with more bombs. With a message." The colonel narrowed his eyes. "You're asking us to trust the enemy. I'm asking you to let me talk to them. They trust me. I can get them to talk back." It took hours, and more arguing than Marcus could stand, but finally Rains agreed. Under guard, Marcus was escorted back to the no man's land between the two armies. The aliens were already there, waiting. Marcus saw their commander step forward. Kale was with him, clutching her pendant like a lifeline. When she saw Marcus, she broke from the commander's side and ran to him. She stopped just short of touching him, but her black eyes shone with relief. Marcus dropped to one knee and pressed the pendant back into her hand. "I kept my promise," he said softly. The alien commander looked from Marcus to the human soldiers behind him. "Why are you here, human?" he asked in his deep, resonant voice. Marcus took a deep breath. "Because I'm tired of watching kids die." "Yours." "Ours. I want to talk. Not fight." The next few hours were tense. Both sides stood ready, weapons in hand, as Marcus spoke slowly, carefully about what he had seen in the camp. About the soldiers who laughed like humans did. About Kale, who just wanted to go home. And then, about the war. "It doesn't matter who started it," Marcus said. "If it keeps going, there won't be anything left to win." There was a long silence. Then the alien commander gave a single nod. 3 days, he said. "We will send diplomats. No weapons." Colonel Rains agreed cautiously, but he agreed. When Marcus walked back to base, Kale's eyes followed him until he was gone. That night, for the first time since the war began, no artillery sounded. The front was quiet. Marcus stood alone outside the barracks, staring at the stars. Somewhere out there, Kale was probably looking up at the same sky. He wasn't sure what would come next. Peace. More fighting. But for the first time, Marcus felt like maybe, just maybe, they had a chance. And he was ready to fight for it. The ceasefire held for 3 days. 3 days of silence on the front. No artillery. No ambushes. No screaming radios. It was the most unnatural sound Marcus had ever heard. On the 4th morning, he was called to the command tent. Colonel Rains stood over a table littered with maps and satellite images. His face was grim. "Intel says the aliens are moving weapons near the ceasefire line," Rains said. "This was supposed to be a truce. If they break it, we hit them first." Marcus stared at the map. He recognized the area. It was near the alien camp where he'd stayed. "They're not preparing for an attack," Marcus said. "That's their evac route. They're pulling wounded out before the talks." Rains gave him a long, hard look. "You think that's what they're doing? But we can't gamble on a guess, Hale. If this is a trap and we wait, we lose the initiative." Marcus felt a slow burn of anger in his chest. "If you strike now, you'll end the talks before they even start." Rains didn't reply. He didn't have to. That night, Marcus made his choice. He slipped out of camp, avoiding the sentries who already didn't trust him. He moved through the dead forest like a shadow, every step reminding him of the last time he had crossed this land, bleeding, exhausted, carrying Kale's life in his arms. Hours later, he reached the alien lines. They almost shot him on sight, but Kale was there. She ran to him, speaking quickly to the guards. Within minutes, Marcus was brought to the alien commander. "You should not be here, human," the commander said. "They think you're preparing an attack," Marcus said. "They'll strike before dawn if I can't convince them otherwise." The commander's black eyes narrowed. "We are moving wounded, as we agreed. Your leaders promised safe passage." "I know," Marcus said. "But they don't trust you." "Not yet. I need proof. Something I can bring back before they fire the first shot." The commander stared at him for a long time. Finally, he gestured for Kale. She came forward, holding a data crystal that glowed faintly in her hands. "This shows our troop movements," the commander said. "It will prove we are not attacking. But if your leaders use this to strike us," his voice grew low, "I will hold you personally responsible." Marcus nodded. "I'll make sure they listen." Kale stepped closer. "Come back," she said softly in broken English. Marcus wanted to promise he would. But he had learned in war that promises were dangerous. He just nodded and turned away. When Marcus returned to the human camp, guards dragged him straight to Rains. "You went to them," the colonel said, his voice sharp. "I got proof," Marcus said, holding up the crystal. "They're pulling out wounded, not building up for an attack. You can check it yourself." Rains stared at him for a long time, then took the crystal. But the next night, everything went wrong. Explosions rocked the alien side of the line. Not artillery sabotage. Marcus ran to the edge of camp in time to see fire rising into the night sky. The alien evac convoy was burning. He grabbed a radio. "Who gave the order to fire?" "No one," a voice answered. "It wasn't us. Some kind of bomb went off on their side." Marcus's blood ran cold. If it wasn't the humans, then someone didn't want peace. The next morning, Marcus went back to the alien camp under a white flag. The commander was waiting, his silver armor scorched from the night's attack. "You brought us proof," the commander said. "And yet our wounded are dead." "I swear it wasn't us," Marcus said. Someone wants to stop the talks. Someone on either side. Let me help you find them. The commander's black eyes studied him for a long time. Finally, he nodded. You will come with us, he said. But if you lie. I won't, Marcus said. Kale stepped out from behind the commander. She looked at Marcus not with fear this time, but with something else. Hope. That night, Marcus left human lines again. But this time, he wasn't just crossing into alien territory. He was crossing into enemy politics, sabotage, and a mystery that could end the fragile peace before it began. And for the first time, Marcus wondered if he was becoming something more than a soldier. He was becoming the bridge. Marcus rode in silence. The alien transport hummed softly as it glided through the broken hills, carrying him deeper into their territory than he had ever been. Kale sat across from him, watching him with wide, serious eyes. She hadn't spoken much since the sabotage. Neither had Marcus. When they arrived, the alien camp was no longer just a camp. It was a fortress. Guard towers hummed with energy weapons. Soldiers moved in squads, armor gleaming under the pale alien sun. Whatever trust Marcus had earned, it was clear it was hanging by a thread. The commander led him into a strategy chamber carved into the side of a cliff. Glowing maps covered the walls. We found pieces of the device that killed our wounded, the commander said. He placed a shard of metal on the table. Marcus frowned. The design was unmistakable human tech. But not standard military issue. This isn't ours, Marcus said. Not from the regular army, anyway. This is, special forces. Black Ops. The commander's eyes narrowed. Your people sent assassins. No, Marcus said quickly. Or if they did, they went rogue. Someone wants the peace talks to fail, and it isn't just your enemies. It's mine too. The commander was silent for a long moment. You say you can find who did this? Yes, Marcus said. But I need access. Human communications, movements, orders, anything that doesn't add up. That is not possible, the commander said. Then the war goes on, Marcus replied. And next time, it won't just be wounded. It'll be Kale. The commander's jaw tightened. At last, he nodded. You have 2 days, he said. Marcus got to work. The aliens gave him limited access to the data they had intercepted from human transmissions. It was risky. If the humans discovered what he was doing, he'd be branded a traitor for real this time. Kale helped him sort through the information. She was quiet, focused, far more clever than her age suggested. You're good at this, Marcus said one night. She looked at him. I don't want to be good at war, she said softly. Marcus swallowed hard. Neither do I. On the second night, he found it. A single transmission, heavily encrypted, sent from deep inside human-controlled territory and not to any official channel. When Marcus decrypted it, his blood ran cold. The message detailed a plan to strike during the upcoming peace summit. Not just sabotage this time, assassination. Not of the alien commander. Of the human general who had agreed to the talks. Marcus didn't sleep. He left the alien base at dawn and crossed back into human lines under a white flag once again. Colonel Rains was waiting for him, arms crossed. You'd better have a good reason for coming back, Rains said. I have proof, Marcus said, throwing the data crystal onto the table. Someone on our side is planning to assassinate General Mercer at the summit. Rains went pale. You're sure? Yes, Marcus said. And when Mercer dies, the aliens will retaliate. The war will never end. Rains cursed under his breath. If this is true, it's bigger than both of us. That night, Marcus wasn't locked in a cell. Instead, he was brought to a hidden command center where senior officers pored over the data. They confirmed it. The message was real. But it wasn't enemy agents. It was human hardliners, a breakaway faction determined to win the war at any cost. They think peace is surrender, Rains said grimly. They'd rather see the whole front burn than shake hands with aliens. Marcus felt the weight of the war pressing on him. Then we stop them, he said. The next day, Marcus and a small strike team set out under the cover of night. Their mission: find the rogue operatives before they could reach the summit site. As they crept through the ruins of an abandoned city, Marcus felt Kale's pendant against his chest, warm like a heartbeat. For the first time since the war began, he wasn't just fighting to survive. He was fighting for a future. When they found the rogue cell, Marcus didn't hesitate. The firefight was brutal and close. The operatives were well trained, desperate, and willing to die to stop peace. But Marcus was faster. Stronger. When the last operative fell, Marcus stood in the rubble, breathing hard, his hands shaking. It was over. For now. Back at base, Rains gave him a rare nod of respect. You saved the war today, Hale, he said. Marcus didn't feel like a hero. He felt tired. But when the summit was announced that night, and both sides agreed to meet under full ceasefire, he felt something he hadn't felt in months. Hope real this time. Kale's pendant still hung at his chest. He touched it, staring out at the quiet horizon. The real fight was about to begin. The summit was held at dawn. The sun rose over the shattered battlefield, turning the broken earth gold. For the first time since the war began, there were no gunshots, no explosions, just silence. Marcus stood between the two camps, armed only with his rifle slung across his back. He wasn't here as a soldier anymore. He was here as a bridge. General Mercer arrived first, flanked by human guards. He looked tired, but determined. Then came the alien delegation. The commander led them, Kale at his side, holding her pendant tight. The two groups stopped a few meters apart. It was quiet enough to hear the wind. Marcus stepped forward. This war started because we didn't trust each other, he said, loud enough for both sides to hear. I've seen what we lose every day we keep fighting. I've seen what we could save if we stop. He looked at the alien commander, then at Mercer. Talk to each other. Today. No more excuses. The talks began. Hours passed as translators worked, arguments rose and fell, and accusations were thrown like knives. Marcus stayed on the edge of the clearing, hands never far from his rifle. He wasn't sure what he was waiting for. Until he saw movement. A glint of metal flashed from the tree line. Marcus moved before he could think. Down, he shouted. The first shot rang out, striking the dirt where Mercer had been standing a second before. Chaos erupted. Marcus dove for cover, scanning the trees. He spotted the sniper human gear, human uniform. The rogue faction had sent a second team. The aliens were shouting, weapons raised. The humans were shouting back. One wrong move and the peace summit would become a massacre. Marcus didn't have time to think. He sprinted across the open ground, straight into the line of fire. Bullets tore through the dirt around him. He tackled the sniper just as he fired again. The shot went wide, hitting nothing. The two men wrestled in the mud, fists flying. The sniper snarled, spitting words through clenched teeth. You think they'll spare us? You think there's peace with monsters? They're not monsters. Marcus shouted. They're just like us. With one last punch, Marcus knocked him out cold. When he stood up, the clearing was dead silent. Human and alien eyes were on him. He was covered in blood and dirt, chest heaving, but he didn't look away. This is what's been killing us, he said, pointing to the unconscious assassin. Fear. Hate. People who would rather see the world burn than share it. He dropped the sniper's rifle to the ground. I'm done fighting for them. I'll fight for this. He gestured between the two sides. For a future where we don't bury our children because of someone else's war. The alien commander stepped forward. Slowly, he lowered his weapon. Then, to everyone's shock, General Mercer did the same. One by one, the soldiers on both sides lowered their rifles. And for the first time, there was no sound of war. Hours later, the agreement was signed. The first ceasefire that wasn't just temporary. The first step toward real peace. Marcus stood on the hill above the field, exhausted but smiling faintly. Kale climbed up beside him. "You fight hard," she said. "Yeah," Marcus said, staring at the horizon. "But maybe I won't have to anymore." She handed him her pendant. "No," Marcus said, closing her hand around it. "Keep it. Someday you can tell your people this is how it started." Kale smiled, a real smile this time. Marcus looked out at the quiet battlefield. For the first time in a year, the war was truly over. And for the first time since it began, Marcus felt like he could breathe.